all of the DMV.
Welcome back to Cap Review. I'm Tasmin Mahfuz, and we heard from members of the GOP on the battle for the gavel. Now let's get the Democratic perspective. We want to bring in Maryland Congressman Glenn Ivey to talk about the historic removal of now Congressman Kevin McCarthy as Speaker. Congressman Ivey, thank you so much for joining us again. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
So this week you called McCarthy disingenuous. Talk about that. Why did Democrats choose to vote against McCarthy staying in power?
Well, part of it was, sort of the last straw was when he went on television. So let me back up. The day of the vote to keep to avert the government shutdown, we were given a draft of the bill a few minutes, frankly, before he wanted us to vote on it. We asked for time to take a look at the bill so we could review it. 90 minutes, I think, was the ask. They declined to provide us with that amount of time. So at that point, we went into, the Hakeem Jeffries gave a speech for an hour, basically, which gave us enough time to review the bill and to go forward from there. But basically, we then came out, every Democrat voted in favor of the bill, which kept the government open. Now, the next day, former Speaker and other leaders in the Republican caucus go on television and say, it was the Democrats who were trying to shut down the government, and we had to sort of force their hand in order to keep it open. And I just thought that was, it was frankly false, and he knew it was false. So it was really disappointing for him to come out and make those kinds of statements. And by the way, on the morning that we ended up voting on whether to keep him as Speaker or not, Democratic leadership played those clips so all of us could see and be reminded of exactly what he had said over the weekend. So I think that was a pivotal moment in the caucus, the Democratic caucus, deciding to vote him out.
So is there a concern that now the next Speaker Republicans choose will be less inclined to work with Democrats, especially if they watch their predecessor just get kicked out?
Well, I don't know what they're going to do over there. I'm seeing a number of names come up, and apparently they're going to have some sort of town hall on Tuesday where they whoever the candidates are get a chance to speak to the Republicans, and they can then decide who they want to vote for. But that's really up to them, and who they put forward, whoever they put forward. I think Democrats are going to continue to try and figure out if we can find common ground with them, like we did with the government shutdown effort, which we averted a government shutdown by joining with Republicans to vote for that bill. Same thing with the debt ceiling. Democrats provided the vast majority of the votes in both of those critical scenarios to get the Republicans out of crises that they had created for political purposes. So we're willing to work. Hopefully we can do it in better ways than that, but we can find common ground. On the other hand, we're not just going to roll over and throw our principles under the bus and forget about the people we came here to serve. So we're going to have differences, but I think we can disagree without being disagreeable if we go about it the right way and still find ways ultimately to get the people's business done.
And it seems like securing a speaker is going to take some time. But at the same time, there are stalled bills, months of negotiations that seem like they're useless now. How could this affect your constituents in Prince George's County if it then leads to a government shutdown?
Well, the big issue is going to be the government shutdown. We kicked the can down the road for 45 days, where I think we're now in like 39 or 38 or so. So time's running pretty quickly on that front. We need them to pick a speaker so we can get back to moving forward and resolve the differences that may be outstanding on that, and make sure we can have a bill that passes that extends the government funding for foreseeable future, I'd say. Same with the debt ceiling. We're good on that front for, I think, into next year. But I'd like to see us get away from, especially the Republicans pushing us towards crisis every time a vote on the debt ceiling or government shutdown comes on. Let's stop using those as leverage because ultimately it's damaging to the American people. It's damaging to our economy. And I think you end up actually not getting anything done. In fact, government shutdowns have been shown to cost taxpayers more than they save by far. The other bill I would say that we need to do something with quickly is Ukraine. I know there are sort of rumblings out of the House Republicans that they don't want to move forward with that. But I think there's strong support for it among Senate Democrats and Republicans, certainly in the White House, House Democrats, and in the House 2 weeks ago. we had a vote where I think over 300 members, so a strong component of House Republicans, voted against cutting off funding to Ukraine. So I think the voting margins are there. The need is indisputable, and I think we need to move forward with it relatively quickly.
All right, Congressman Ivey, thank you so much for joining us, for your time and your insight.
Thanks for having me.
All right, after the break, we'll head to the Hill. Stay with us. You're watching Capitol Review.